ask Apple to hand over someone's fingerprint. And finally, Matt Goldich writes, "Ah, man, my old iPhone jokes are already obsolete." And those are the popular tweets of the day. Let's come to my favorite portion of the program. It's the song of the day. And originally I was going to play the original version of this song, because that's what most people are familiar with. But this happens to be my favorite rendition of this classic song from the early 1970s. What I'm talking about, remember John Lennon's Imagine? Well, actor Scott Bakula recorded it for an episode of Quantum Leap in 1990. It's one of my favorite episodes, in which Sam leaps home. Incidentally, that was the name of the episode this was taken from. Anyway, Sam leaps home and to his family in 1969, I believe. And he's trying to change history, but all he's doing is making that present miserable for the rest of his family. While he's talking to his sister, he plays this song, which of course hadn't been written or recorded yet in that timeline. But this is my favorite rendition of John Lennon's Imagine. Now, this will probably upset a lot of people for what I'm about to say, but this is the way I see the song, and this is what I believe John Lennon imagined, pardon the pun, when he wrote this song. First of all, according to urban legend, which I believe it to be true, based on all the materials I've read so far, that John Lennon wrote this in an hour and produced it. Paul McCartney didn't like the song, but that's another matter. Anyway, John Lennon wrote this in an hour and recorded it. And anyway, fast forwarding a little bit, one of the comments that I've heard from various Christian fundamentalists is that John Lennon is saying there is no heaven. That is not what he is saying in this song. He's saying, imagine if there is no heaven. There's a big difference. He's taken what some Christians consider to be a definitive fact and saying, imagine for a moment if there isn't one. Or what if we didn't have to fight for one? And from what I've learned from the 9/11 terrorist attacks and about religion in general over the years is that a lot of people who cling to their beliefs, who are challenged by their beliefs, or challenged to justify their beliefs, will often go back to it, even though, in my experience, that it's largely unhealthy. What I'm getting at is, it was religious fundamentalists, granted they were Muslim, that attacked Americans and others on that horrific day 12 years ago today. At what point does your faith become unhealthy? Okay, is what I'm getting at. So, try to imagine for a moment if we're all on the same page when it comes to religion, whether it's adopting one religion or no religion at all. Personally, I'm in favor of not adopting any particular religion. And that's what I want you to think about as we listen to today's Song of the Day from one of my favorite actors and my favorite rendition of Imagine. Here it is in its entirety, and it is today's Song of the Day.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of men. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Today's song of the day on this edition of First Cup, and slowly wrapping up the program. Let's see what's on the television for tonight. And not a whole lot to talk about in terms of what's on television for tonight. The X Factor season premiere. Judges Simon Cowell and Demi Lovato are joined by new judges Kelly Rowland and Paulina Rubio this season. That begins at 8 o'clock Eastern on Fox. The season begins with the auditions. And that's what's on TV for tonight. That's all I've got. I'm sorry. I wish there was more, but there isn't. That's all there is. Well, before we part ways, I want to thank you for downloading today's program. Ran a little bit longer than normal, but that's okay. I'm entitled to do that once in a while, because 9/11 is a significant moment in American history and human history, and glad I was able to share my memories with you. Hope you'll share your memories of that day with me on this program. Remember, Gunther's House of Friends at gmail.com is how you do it. Also, check out my website, tinyurl.com/Gunther's House. Access the website on your computer, your Mac, Linux computer, or tablet computer, or on your smartphone at tinyurl.com/Gunther Mobile. I also wish to thank my good friend Chris for advertising on this program, and glad to help you out. And you can help her out by going to my website, tinyurl.com/Gunther's House or Gunther Mobile. Click on the Friends page and look for Wishing Stars Native Creations, where you can get great Native American jewelry, all custom made. No two pieces are alike. Just look for Wishing Stars Native Creations on my Friends page, tinyurl.com/Gunther's House or Gunther Mobile, and that's how you do that, okay? She accepts PayPal and money orders and is taking requests, okay? Reasonable request, of course. Wish to thank the good folks at Spreaker.com for providing the bandwidth to record this program and to occasionally produce a show live, and also to the folks at Lycos.com for hosting my website, tinyurl.com/Gunther's House or Gunther Mobile, which links off to joehaffneronline.com. As I sign off, you'll hear the speech that President George W. Bush made to the United States on this night 12 years ago, talking about the 9/11 terror attacks. And then flash forward to May 1st, 2011. Let's see if I have it in the system. before I make a promise that I can't uphold. And just give me a moment here. Yep, and I believe that's it. Hold on just a moment. And wish this playlist window were a little bit larger. That's what she said! Thank you, Colonel Potter. Okay, pull this over here. So we'll have the address from President Bush on that night 12 years ago. Talk about the 9/11 terror attacks. And then flash forward to May 1st, 2011, when the United States finally got Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan. And that'll be the show for today. But as I sign off, I wish to remind you that no one ever said life was going to be easy, but then nothing worthwhile ever is. Do the right thing, and most of all, be true to your heart. Be kind to one another. See you tomorrow. Live long and prosper.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts. The victims were in airplanes or in their offices. Secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors. Thousands of lives were suddenly ended by evil, despicable acts of terror. The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, huge structures collapsing, have filled us with disbelief, terrible sadness, and a quiet, unyielding anger. These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat. But they have failed. Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation. Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shatter steel, but they cannot dent the steel of American resolve. America was targeted for attack because we're the brightest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world. And no one will keep that light from shining. Today our nation saw evil, the very worst of human nature. And we responded with the best of America. With the daring of our rescue workers, with the caring for strangers and neighbors who came to give blood and help in any way they could. Immediately following the first attack, I implemented our government's emergency response plans. Our military is powerful, and it's prepared. Our emergency teams are working in New York City and Washington, D.C. to help with local rescue efforts. Our first priority is to get help to those who have been injured and to take every precaution to protect our citizens at home and around the world from further attacks. The functions of our government continue without interruption. Federal agencies in Washington, which had to be evacuated today, are reopening for essential personnel tonight and will be open for business tomorrow. Our financial institutions remain strong, and the American economy will be open for business as well. The search is underway for those who are behind these evil acts. I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them. I appreciate so very much the members of Congress who have joined me in strongly condemning these attacks. And on behalf of the American people, I thank the many world leaders who have called to offer their condolences and assistance. America and our friends and allies join with all those who want peace and security in the world. And we stand together to win the war against terrorism. Tonight I ask for your prayers for all those who grieve, for the children whose worlds have been shattered, for all whose sense of safety and security has been threatened. And I pray they will be comforted by a power greater than any of us, spoken through the ages in Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. This is a day